As we look at the power sector in Nigeria, the federal government has taken delivery of over 656,752 prepaid meters under the phased Central Bank of Nigeria funded National Mass Metering Program. This represents almost 85% of the phase 0, 1 million meters to be provided by the end of the month of June this year to Nigerians whose bills are still based on estimation. However, out of the 656,752 prepaid meters, only 305,962 have already been installed for consumers, and that's according to the Special Advisor to the President on Infrastructure, Ahmed Zakari. However, the major problem faced by the indigenous producers and meter asset providers is the pace of ramp-up of available personnel for installation. Another problem is the lack of a vital plastic component, as one of the two major global suppliers, one based in Germany, has shut down during the COVID-19 pandemic, resulting in pressure to the value chain. And joining me now live in our Lagos studio to discuss the success rate of the metering rollout on households and also businesses, I have economist Michael Ilo. Good to have you on the breakfast show this morning. Happy holidays. Yes, now let's start off with the reality we have on ground, the capacity of the rollout versus installation capacity as well. We have over 656,000 already delivery taken, but we just had installation of about 305 thereabout. This is barely half of the figure we even have, even though we've not met the 1 million target just yet. How do we now deal with the issue of installation capacity personnel within this regard?
Well, I think one thing we could have realized earlier on is funding is not all there is to business, but it's a vital component. It's a good thing that CBN came in with their funding program. And as it were, many companies have taken advantage, both the meter asset providers and the local producers or assemblers, as you want to call them. So it will take a while. I want to believe that going forward, the pace of production, the personnel, because one thing about getting needed personnel is there's an element of schooling and the more important aspect of training. So technology transfer from those who are maybe importing solely into domesticating parts of the knowledge component of it. Some components need to be imported, we know, like the issues we are having with Germany. But if we can get local replacements for those components, they will go a long way. I'm not too happy that maybe only 5, 10, 15% of what we have as meters are provided within the country. If we can increase this to 30, 40, 50%, why not?
That's just the reality on ground. We assemble at this point in time yet to have all of the components manufactured in country. But even still looking at the assembling capacity we have in country, we can do much more than 1 million units being rolled out within, say, for example, a quarter. Because if we have about 3 assembling units with 3 different producers as well, generating a capacity of at least 100 or 200 or 300,000 within a month, combining that would give us a little more than 1 million, don't you think? So what should we be doing in terms of utilizing our resources much more aggressively and also having investment to drive this this scheme or this program?
Well, there are 1 or 2 things that I think needs to be figured out. The first one is the fact that there was this meter asset provider scheme.
MAPS, yes.
MAPS. This one now is coming to kind of displace it a bit and domesticate production.
It's to consolidate.
So to consolidate, as they put it. But at the end of the day, some people have their concerns about, okay, what if I was part of the first scheme? Am I being taken out? The other thing is the MAP was supposed to be private, separate from DISCOs. This funding by CBN is to be given to DISCOs and maybe local people manufacturing. So at the end of the day, where do you make sure that people who are supposed to be complementing one another don't become direct competitors? You know, there are still some angles of some users that now, because they are realizing that, okay, the cost of the tariff for electricity is going up, am I not better off staying with the estimated billing You know, so there's an element of publicity trying to get people on board. Okay, you only pay for what you consume. Then some other things have been happening, not in all cases, which is the fact that they expect users to pay for those meters. That wasn't part of the plan by CBN. At least not immediately you are procuring a meter. People want to get meters, but when you ask them to pay 50,000,
there's a 3-month deficit you have to pay.
You know, some are even actually asking. My mom, when she wanted to get a meter, they asked her to pay like 48,000, which she eventually paid. It wasn't supposed to be like this. That money is never coming back. You know, it's the same warped logic that we had in power issues, that you buy transformers for your communities. At the end of the day, the moment it's installed, what you hear is that it belongs to DISCO, it belongs to PHCN, and the rest of it. It's not supposed to be. These are private businesses now. People should not be made to pay for what is ordinarily not their possession.
And wrapping up our conversation at this point in time, let's tilt our focus a little bit away from the estimated billing and then the metering deficit we have in country, but the fact that we have power plants in the country that are not meeting up capacity, breaking down, grid collapses, and much more. Yet the tariff for electricity has gone up, and we might likely still have to pay more. The promise of the government is that you're going to have better service delivery in terms of electricity, and that's why we are having the increase in tariff.
Thank you for that question. The issue is we have not looked at the whole value chain. How does one complement the other? Transmission, distribution, what was it, this last one? Generation.
Distribution and generation.
They are all like a relay team. At the end of the day, it must get to the end user. The end user is the one that pays. And between them, the transmission, the distribution, and the generating companies share the resources, and they are all supposed to make profits. But if not well coordinated, we continue to have these issues. 11 o'clock or 11:01 officially yesterday, the national grid collapsed. You know, this is the second time in 3 months. You know, I was trying to how does this help the country move forward? How do we make sure that this doesn't happen? Who gets punished? What caused it? They said they are still investigating.
Issues around.
These are the issues around supply. You know, if in the whole country we are still generating from public power supply, maybe less than 10,000 megawatts.
Okay.
If you compare, 50 times this number is what is being generated in India.
Okay,
you know, we should have a better way of coordinating our supply, our generation, so that if we need to unbundle, let's unbundle, so that we don't keep the whole country in darkness because of one system failure or the other.
And we also have to look at other means of generating electricity at this point in time. We cannot have the much of pressure we have right now on grid to have the solutions done. And it's inexcusable to say that we don't have proper facility management or management within this regard of maintaining our infrastructure or our power assets. Good to have you on the breakfast show this morning.
Thank you.
Mr. Michael Law. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
Happy holidays once again.